Good morning, GM. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Yeah, buddy. Rock down to a cap. Remix going on, GM. Awesome. Well, I saw the quote of the day today, and it made me think of another quote. Oh, pull that up. There we go. There we go. Awesome. So, quote of the day here from Teddy Roosevelt says, "Believe you can, and you're halfway there." And man, that is some great news. I mean, if you're out in the trenches and you're wondering if it's ever going to end or how close you're getting, and you get this feedback, hey, man, believe you can, and you're halfway there. Whew. If believing is halfway, then guys, that's the easy part. Let's go. I think the challenge is that too many folks they fall into comparison, or they literally think they can't. They want it with the first half of their sentence, and by the time they're done speaking that sentence, they've concluded it is impossible. So that reminded me of the man in the arena quote. And this one's exciting. I haven't memorized it yet, so we have it pulled up here. And he said in 1910, he said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who, at the best, knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who never knew victory nor defeat." Whew, that's some good stuff right there. Two sentences, two complete, nearly run on sentences. Man. So, what is he saying here? The credit belongs to the person who's actually out there making mistakes, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again. That's definitely, you know, an experience one could have working the phones. You're calling motivated sellers, you're calling lenders, you're calling buyers, you're calling. How many times does the call end with a no, with an error, with coming up short again and again? But you know what? You're doing the deed with great enthusiasm, and it's on a worthy cause. So, um, so the triumph is the person who's in the mess, right? Who's in the arena, and a lot of you guys get in the arena and then you go back to the bench and then the arena and then you go back to the stands and you want to watch the show for a bit and then you want to get in and then you want to watch. And I get it, it's fun. There's a sense of safety in that. Stay in the arena so different people can take up the seats and cheer you on. So if you haven't looked into Teddy Roosevelt's life, that guy is incredible. That guy got shot while giving a speech and finished the speech. Okay. Point blank with a pistol, but it shot like his glasses case and his journal that was in his breast pocket. And like he looked down, they tackled the man who shot him, and he said something like, "You're gonna have to try harder than that to take down a bull moose. You know, a bull moose doesn't drop like that." Something about the bull moose. Anyway, guy's incredible. Did you imagine telling him what you're up to? Saying, "Yes, sir, I'm working on my liberty, my sovereignty for me and my family, my friends, my network, my community." And he goes, "Yeah, tell me about it." And you go, "Oh, I stay up till about 10:30 watching classes, and then I fall asleep, and then I get up around 8:30 and check some emails." He's gonna say, "Dude, you're not in the arena. We got to get in the arena." For me, the arena was when I got up early. It was to go to the job, right? It was to go to Jiffy Lube, and I had to be there at 7 a.m. People were waiting at 7:01 for an oil change. I'm like, okay, let's go. Then I would work all the way until 3 p.m. Because they would only give you your 8 hours. And then I'd have to ride the bus or a bike, and I'd go to Sears Tire Center and start working there at 4, and they would be open until 10. So 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., I am changing oil, changing brakes, changing tires, mopping shops, making a mess, cleaning it up. And that was 5 or 6 days a week, depending on how many hours and the arrangement of things. Anyway, that hour in between, where I would normally be riding the bike or the bus, I now had to work. And this was 2010, 2011. What kind of phones did you have back then? Were they easily checking websites and emails and updating spreadsheets? No, it was tough. And my mom was paying my cell phone bill. So so I'd be making the calls in between the cars. I'd be making the contacts text from people who reached out to an ad, or I met them at something. Um, and so I was trying to get done in a half an hour or 15 minutes every day, enough to build an empire, to build a business. And so most people have it super easy now, but they don't have the right context or comparison, so they think it's actually hard. What's hard? I'll tell you what's hard. It's not the work. What's hard is the amount of money needed to stay ahead because of how the currency is being manipulated. That that part is that's kind of hard, right? You got to get at least a 9% year over year return to break even. Okay. Um, and then, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, your bank was giving you 5 or 6%. And then, but inflation or the cost of monetary expansion was only at 4%, so you could stay ahead. But now, nope, it's not going to work. So what do? We need to add more value in less time. We need to add more value in less time. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we get the value across? Well, what is the value? In order to make the difference, to make the customer to make the difference, we need to add value to someone's life. So when I was working at Jiffy Lube, the value was I will change your oil so you don't have to. But what's the value when we're working here at Renatus? What is the value? The value is, I would say, a perception exchange, trying on this new perspective or this new perception. Right? When we're talking to a customer at the beginning of the conversation, they are completely fuzzy, unclear. What are you talking about? Why do you want my money? Is it? And then, they're wondering, is this even related to my goal with what you're saying? How far away is this? And the longer you can stay with that person and get that perspective across, that is the value exchange. That is how you put more value into people's lives. It's not a faster oil change or a better tax preparation. Looking around at what some of you guys do for your day job, right? It's not filling out a better packet, although sure that could be more valuable in the short term. To create massive value for people, it's got to be um, new perspectives. Think about it. When you finally have this new understanding, then your life is never the same again. You can't go back to the old ways, the old language, the old neglect, the old friends, the old networks. Once you have the new perspective, going back is not possible. You got the new perspective. And now, when it's time to allocate capital and you think, should I go buy that fun new thing or should I put it in an investment? Well, now you got this new perspective, and your future self is going to thank you drastically for doing your investing now. So, how do we exchange more value? Get the new perspective. Okay, once that new perspective is in, then we got to get someone attached to actually applying it, applying what they've now learned. It's the same thing with learning any new skill, right? Learning gardening, learning animal husbandry, we're learning Spanish, we're learning real estate, learning. It's the action, the application. So going back to, we're creating value for somebody. To create that value, you're going to give them a new perspective, which is one reason why we have the weekly meeting, is to give new people new perspectives. And it's to also reinforce the perspective that you've found and stick with it. Because there is a, okay, the other day, Benjamin asked me a very unique question. We were studying monks in a monastery, a peaceful group. And we've talked a lot about how war is bad. We don't like war, but it happens. We don't like it. We don't prefer it. We're in a day and age now where speaking should solve the problem and not war, right? And over the last year or so, I've gotten different books, encyclopedias, and he ends up reading about war. Okay, so he hears about this monastery and these monks that are working, and they, yeah. Okay, so monks are known for their peace, right? Their peacefulness, and sometimes I forget to lock the office door. Okay. What on earth was I talking about? Monks, peace, war.
He asked you a unique question.
Yeah, he asked me a question. Oh, um, so he said, all right, since these monks know that war is bad and all of their students are constantly practicing martial arts and fighting, right? And the story was something about there were 500 years of peace and then they were attacked, something like that. And so he was, for 500 years, every student was still doing martial arts and preparing for war. And he's sitting there thinking, Dad, these are peaceful people. They know war is bad. Why are they? Why would they engage in fighting? Why would they practice war when they know they want peace? And that's a big question, right? Why do the peaceful nations still have an army, right? Why why, knowing that um, war just ends with destruction and misery, why are monks actively preparing for fighting constantly, never taking a day off? How would you answer that question? Well, what I told him was the the bad guys for a 5-year-old language. The bad guys never take a day off. The evildoers never take a day off. So it doesn't matter that there was a 500-year gap from when their monastery got attacked until this latest story. Their enemies never took a day off. Now, maybe their enemies changed a little bit. Maybe it was this clan, that clan, this, whatever, that border. But the point is that the nation, or the peaceful, the way to maintain peace is to be prepared for war. We don't want war. We don't hope for war. We don't wish war upon anyone. In fact, the complete opposite. It's so archaic and barbaric, unnecessary for where we are as a humanity. But nevertheless, there it is. So then we started talking about how, of course, he gets a little distracted, and then I started talking to Vanessa about how this actually applies to what we're doing. The people who are attacking us, they're not attacking us with swords. They're not storming our borders. They're silently stealing from us. They're doing it through insurance. They're doing it through retirement accounts. They're doing it through taxes. They're doing it through banking. They're doing it through printing. They're doing it through currency manipulation. They're doing it through loan modification. They're doing it through all these other means. Tamara pointed out health and all the plastic in your food and in that gets lodged in your brain. All these attacks, but they don't look like attacks. So you don't feel like you need to defend yourself, and that you look around and you go, you're driving, and you're like, oh, the roads are safe, and my car works, and there's gas in the pump. But it's constantly encroaching on you, on your life, on your liberty, on your wealth. And so, yes, we are a peaceful nation. We are the monks in the monastery. We just want to practice. We want to find God. We want to have a strong body, whatever. But the criminals are still going to storm the castle at some point quietly, right? Maybe they'll poison your orchard or something. This is why we don't take a day off at Renatus, or a week off, or a month off. Because every day something is brewing behind the scenes that's trying to take your value. And then I finally was able to connect it with him when we go to the garden and it's springtime. I'm not mad at the dandelion or the what's the other one? The deadly nightshade. I'm not mad at these plants, okay? But I do have to kill them. I have to yank them up and cast them away. And guess what? If I take a day off and I go back in there, there'll be another one and another one. And finally he got it, that it's like this, it's this constant taking care of thing. I'm not mad, but I am protecting and defending the thing that we're growing, while at the same time focusing on growing. So you need to prepare, you need to watch your classes, you need to be serious, you need to remove the weeds when they show up, but you don't need to be constantly as the state of the warrior. But there's a phrase that says it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. So design your life to be a gardener, but have the attitude of the warrior. And the warrior is, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Maybe someone else can help me with making it eloquent. But you are engaged in a financial battle of the wits, and um, and it's not just learn these calculations on the calculator, right? Because you can get distracted with the shows and the movies and the sports and the gossip and the world news, and quietly they're just siphoning away your money until you're weaker and you're weaker and you're weaker. Don't get distracted. Stay focused. Watch your classes. Do good in the world. Try harder. Make offers. Talk to more people. And focus on adding value. Okay. So speaking of adding value, let's jump into Wealth Wednesday. I know Daine is on the road. He's living a life by design and somewhere up in the mountains, but he's still tuning in. Winter, snow season is upon us. I don't know if you know this, but Daine desires to do backflips in snowmobiles in the mountains. Okay. If it's not going 50 miles an hour, he's upset. So he's got to get his fix, his adventure, his adrenaline fix. and so snow season is upon him. So anyway, with that being said, happy to have him here. um, Perfect. But this is my point: is you never take a day off. Even you refueling yourself, recharging yourself is also helping you to aid in the battle. But it is a battle. You need to work harder. You need to talk to more people. You need to take it more seriously. Les Brown says if you are casual, you'll end up a casualty. So Daine is one of those people who takes it seriously, tries hard, shows up early, stays late, adds more value than is expected from him, and is a great example of using the education and building a business step by step, paint by numbers, so to speak. Because when he first got started, he was like me. He was like many of you, scared, spending the most money he's ever spent on a project, and with limited time, needing to make something big happen fast. And he did just that. Inside of his first year, he was able to complete a deal that paid off all of his debt, and then built a reputation to where he was on to his second deal, his third deal, his fourth deal. And he set a goal to do 10 deals. And then he did 10 deals in a year. And then he was like, maybe I'll do 10 deals in 6 months. And he did that. I don't know if he's accomplished it yet, but 10 deals in a month is something that's on his radar if he hasn't done it yet. But my point is, he's helped more and more people with the same attitude of stay coachable, help more people, build an empire. It's worked for him, and he's turned around and is helping more and more people to do the same. So let's give a big warm welcome to the man of the hour, Mr. Daine Clark, GM.
Good morning. All right, there we go. We're on.
Yes, sir.
What's up, guys? Oh, love it. Backflips in the snow.
That's right, man.
No, actually, I tell everybody, like, no, I speak for a living, meaning I communicate with humans. And so I have to protect this. At least this has to come home able to do this, able to flap and make noise. So I don't like to leave the ground. That's what I
Fair
tell.
enough.
I ride as though I'm 70 years old, is what I tell everybody. I go the places they want to go, but I don't try to make it look fancy and do all the crazy stuff. But
Well, right on. So did you make your new equipment a tax write-off or a business deduction somehow?
sure did.
Tell us how that
Absolutely.
works.
Absolutely. So what we're doing is I basically like became the bank for and they're not snowmobiles, it's a snow bike if anybody's heard of it. You basically take a dirt bike, you take the wheels off, you put a track on the back and a ski on the front. And there are a whole bunch of other stuff that you got to do. It's like it reminds me of like you ever see those people that buy those kits and like 12 months later, all of a sudden they have a plane because it's taken them forever to build the plane in their garage or whatever. Like that's reminds me of snow bike because you're like taking all these dirt bike things off of it and putting all these snow bike things on it to try and convert it. Um, and yeah, there's like lots of moving parts. But anyway, so much more fun. If you've ever been snowmobiling, oh, snow biking is the bee's knees. It's so much fun. But anyway, so yeah, um, last year got into it just for funsies. Met one of the local dealers and you guys know me, like I like to like ask questions. I like to hear their story. I like to see what's going on. And I like supporting local as well. So I was just giving him a bunch of money, doing stuff, buying bikes and having him build it, having him work on it. And the more I got to know him, the more I was like, dude, this guy just needs an opportunity. Like he's been running this for many, many years. He used to race across the world. He'd go to KTM and Husqvarna would fly him down to Europe or Australia or wherever, and he would race these bikes for a week or whatever and just destroy them so that they could come back and say, okay, here's how we can make this better. Um, and then he opened up his shop. Anyway, I was like, this guy just needs an opportunity. So I basically came in and said, hey, I'll be like the bank. Let's get you product. Like, as you tell me how much you think you can sell, and I'll fund it. And so we overfunded him more than he ever has in his life this year and helped him build a whole bunch of bikes and then also basically doing like guided tours. So so it is a business in and of itself to do what we're doing, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, we can take clients, you know. So I've got let's see, I'll have 6 snow bikes here in my man cave this season. 3 little tiny ones. In fact, here, let's see if I've got photos of the tiny ones there. I mean, I don't know. Either way, we don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but yeah, little itty bitty 110 snow bikes, and then like the best of the best 450s. But anyway, super fun.
So because you are an investor in his business,
Yeah.
you get to play with the equipment.
Yep.
Okay.
So here's the little mini ones. If you guys can, yeah, you guys can see this. So the 110s, and so this is for like my 5-year-old, my 7-year-old, my 9-year-old, and you know, just kids in general. And then this is like king of snow bikes. This is a full carbon fiber frame. I mean, I can lift the back of this sucker. If anybody's ever been snowmobiling and you try to lift the back of a snowmobile, I mean, they're heavy, especially when you get a bunch of snow in there. I can curl this sucker almost with one hand, and I'm not a strong dude. And so yeah, super, super fun. So I'll have 3 matching bikes like this and 3 matching bikes like this when we're all finished up. But anyway, testing day. I'm gonna go hit the mountain and test this one today. But
So
super fun. Let's see. Oh, and just in case anybody's wondering, I'm sitting right inside of here. Here's my office. Like I'm facing the window over that way. Actually, you can't see I'm facing away from this little door here. But
right, it's like you just took a picture from yourself to your own perspective. I was
yeah,
just thinking about that.
exactly.
He's just right behind that little piece of plywood.
Yeah. Yeah, so we bought the place and this was the office. Like there was big old 4-point lifts and 2-post lifts in this shop. This thing's huge. And and the owner was running like a full on diesel mechanic shop in this place. It's 60 by 60. And I remember walking through this sucker being like, I really hope my wife likes the house. Like, because we are buying this shop. But super fun. Let's see, how do I stop the share?
You did
Oh, I
already.
already did. All right, perfect. But but yeah, super excited for this season. It's finally snowing, so ready to get going.
Okay, so here's a question. Someone asked me, how do I start the Dane method? They've heard about our calls. They've watched a few of the classes, but what are the first like 3 action steps that someone needs to take? Is it calling
So
agent,
3 action steps. Like starting from brand new, here's exactly how
starting
I
from
do
brand new? All they know is how to change oil and make a campfire.
it. You're talking about real estate, right? Just kidding. So so if you know how to feed yourself, no.
Yeah,
So what I would do if I was brand new is I
brand
would
new.
pull up the website and I would start watching classes like literally the day I bought. I would watch anything that is at my current level. If I've already done some real estate, then yeah, maybe watch something a little more advanced. If I haven't done any real estate, I would watch something that's beginner. So watch some and then I would create a pattern. Watch something, talk to people, and then repeat. Watch something, talk to people, repeat. Watch something, talk to people, repeat. The craziest thing that people will know, they will pick up on this, they will catch on to this, is if you talk to somebody and you are genuinely talking to that person about something that you just did. No, like if you notice, a lot of the things that I'll do is like, oh my gosh, I was just talking to this guy. You know, you guys have heard my like elevator pitch. Like, oh yeah, I was talking to a guy that called me up and said, "Hey, I'm trying to buy a house for $400,000. I got $100,000 to put down." And for lack of a better term, the bank flipped him the bird. Like if you notice, I talk about that as if it could have just happened. Like I don't usually tell people like, "Oh, this happened in 2019." Right? And so you need more stories of things that things that just happened, things that you've learned, things that you're learning. And if you're new, you want to really advance those quickly. So be watching those classes, watching those classes, be be hearing stories of other people in the community, right? So I guess let me add one more thing. Watch classes, talk to the community, get stories, and then talk to people. And and maybe I should better add people outside of the community. Um, because then you all of a sudden become the smartest person in the room, right? In the community, maybe not. Like I don't even claim to be the smartest person in the room inside of our community. But outside of the community, it's like almost inevitable. When I start talking about things that I'm hearing other people say, or talking about things that I am learning through the classes, or like I say, in my case, experiences that I am having. Even that conversation was a conversation outside of the community that I had, and I tell that story because it's an amazing story that begats more deals. And and so that would be my recipe. Learn something, whether it's stories or theory through the education, talk to people, and then repeat. Had I followed that pattern in my own career, oh man, I'd probably have done it twice as fast because all I did was watch classes for several months and didn't talk to anybody. I was too afraid. I was too afraid to talk to anybody. Um, Partially because I was going to be I was ashamed. I was almost ashamed ahead of time with just my own negative self-talk, but I was ashamed ahead of time because what if it didn't work? All right, the brain doesn't know the difference between thinking it and actually experiencing it. And I was thinking it. What if this doesn't work? And so I was afraid to talk to anybody because if it didn't work, then oh well, I never told anybody about it, and then nobody watched me fail. And so yeah, the moment I started talking to people, guess what happened? I remember finally, and you know why I didn't tell my parents especially. I didn't tell my parents, I didn't tell my siblings, because they were the ones that I figured would tell me I was an idiot first. Like you spent 20 some odd $1,000 on 0% credit cards where the 0% only lasts for a period of time, like a year-ish, maybe 18 months max. Like I know exactly what my family would have said, or I thought I knew exactly what my family would have said. And so I was afraid to talk to them. But guess what happened when I finally did? I remember finally telling my mom, and I was like, "Hey mom, I'm getting into real estate. Here's what I'm doing. I'm going to this school thing. And, that's why I'm like so busy after work lately. And going to these different things because at the time I was working with my dad at the same job he was working at. And I can't like unsee this GIF that Meliana it's just like playing. I need to like
Yeah.
turn somebody make some more comments. So it
Yes.
goes away. No, just kidding. Let's see, I think I can go like this. Participants. There we go. Just see a guy jumping in the back of the I keep looking over. Anyway. Um, but yeah, so I tell my mom and she's like, "Oh my gosh." So sorry, this was a week later. So I tell my mom a week later, not even 7 days. She calls me up and says, "Hey, remember you told me about, that you want to do this?" And I had like credibility zero point 0.0. And she's like, "Remember that house that you used to walk past or drive past, depending on how we would get to school, depending on what grade I was in. But remember that house that you used to go past to get to school that was always like overgrown, the weeds, the grass, the like just a rundown. Remember that house? Somebody just put a sign in the yard. You should buy that ugly, the ugliest neighborhood house. You should buy that house. Like you were talking about, you want ugly houses. I bought that house. That was one of the first houses that I ever bought inside of my Renatus career. Well, technically, I never bought a house before my Renatus career, but that was one of the first houses that I bought as I was just getting off the ground. In fact, some of you have heard this story. Um, Put an offer in, used a local realtor as well, and went under contract and was like, uh, I don't know what to do now. I was like, uh, so anyway, put in our offer. And then the realtor, bless his heart, was like, oh, I can tell that Daine doesn't know what he's doing. And so the realtor actually became my bank to buy the house, and then I wholesaled it to that realtor. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll give you a wholesale fee. How much you willing to pay on a wholesale fee? He's like, $500. I was like, okay. So I made $500 on my first wholesale because I'd watched a ton of classes. And so I had, some things to talk about, sure, but I had a conversation, and that conversation led to doing a deal. And I was like, you know what? I could be ashamed to tell this story because yeah, $500, whoop-de-doo. I spent 20 some odd $1,000 on my education. And so sure, I could be ashamed, but I was like, you know what? No, this is my story. And yeah, I made $500, but you know what it propelled me into? The next one. The next deal that I wholesaled made over $60,000. Did a few deals in between that, sure. But it propelled me into, oh my gosh, I did a deal. And sure, I only, and I remember at the time I used to never say, oh, I only made $500. But now I'm just like, no. Honestly, like people really love the genuinity of a true story. What do they call that? A hero's journey of going through. Like I had to learn. I had to learn those negotiation principles that I didn't have when I first got started in this. I was just an infant learning to walk, so to speak, or a toddler, I guess, toddler learning to walk. But yeah, and then guess what happened after that? More conversations, more stories, more learning, more going to community events, more learning, was able to learn from directly from instructors because they were recording classes and go and literally learn from those people and be like, oh my gosh. And so then all my conversations like, dude, I just learned. And here's the cool thing about this is let's say you only know 100 people total in your entire life, pretending. The beautiful thing about going and learning something new is let's say you go have a conversation with all of those 100 people today about like, oh yeah, I wholesaled a deal. And then you go have a conversation and then you go and watch the class recorded about contract for deed. You can go talk to all 100 people about something new, something different. Like, oh my gosh, like I just learned this. Did you know you could buy a house and turn around and sell it without even seeing the house and make money on it? Then you go have 100 more conversations because again, pretend that you only know 100 people. Pretend you only know 50 people. You could go have 50 conversations like, dude, remember how I was telling you about this like last month? Look at this that I just learned, right? Because they know you're on your journey. They know that you're just learning because you don't try to be what you're not. And I think that was some of my issues in the beginning was that I tried to be, like to that realtor. I tried to be somebody I wasn't. Like, oh yeah, yeah, realtor, you work for me. Like, oh, I don't have the money to buy this. So, and he's like, well, I'll give you a loan so I can buy it from you. Okay, cool. I'll wholesale it to you. What kind of wholesale fee you offering? $500. All right, fine. Done. Right. But then you start telling like, oh yeah, like new stories. Like, guess what else I learned, right? And it's funny because that guy, um, I started talking to other people that know him, and because again, I'm from Morgan, Utah. It was like a really small town. And so I started talking to other people too that know him. And he actually started spreading rumors about me that I was faking it till I make it. And it was funny though, because some of the people that I talked to later on like that actually like shut him up, was like, no, dude, have you seen what Daine's doing now? Like that guy, and started talking about all these, because by the time I talked to that guy that he had spread the rumor to, it's funny how this all full circle came back to me. That he was like telling this, this realtor, like, oh my gosh, like, have you heard what Dane's doing now? Like, holy crap, he's come a long way. And it was funny. And anyway, so I had a conversation with that guy. He's like, yeah, I used to think that you were just faking it till you make it. And I actually love that because they see that I started 10 years ago and that sure I was faking it till I make it. Again, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't say put that in your recipe if you're getting started. But if you just be honest and genuine, like I'm learning this. I am doing this. Not I'm going to do this. I am doing this. This is the process. Like literally me telling you that I'm doing this is the process of me doing it. And and so you start telling people, hey, I'm doing this. I'm learning this. I'm going for it. I'm making offers. I'm learning how to do it. Like I'm raising money. I'm doing this. I'm still learning, but I'm doing it. And this is the process of doing it. And then they talk to you 6 months later. They talk to you 12 months later. They talk to you, like in that guy's case, 2 years later, maybe three. And they were like, oh yeah, I thought you were just faking it till you. Holy crap, you've already done 20 deals? Man, sign me up for this. And that guy became a student. And so that would be my recipe. Learn stuff, have conversations. Learn more stuff, have more conversations with new people and the same people. If they watch you go from, hey, this is what I know today, and then 6 months later, here's what I now know today, and then 6 months later, here's what I now know today, and they watch your knowledge and experience ever increasing. Like, yeah, and I was just talking to a guy, like, let's say you go make an offer on a house. Imagine the conversations that you can now have. Even if the deal fails, you go have a conversation to buy a house, run the numbers, make the offer. People will pick up on that experience level that you have now made an offer, right? There's probably people in the community that have never made an offer on a house in their lives. I was one of them. Imagine the difference in your conversation when you go from 0 offers made in your entire life to 1, even if it fails. Right? I had several offers fail. In fact, I was barking up the wrong tree because I understood I just got to make offers. And so I would just go to KSL, which is basically Craigslist for Utah. I'd go to local classifieds. I would just search for sale by owner, and I would go have conversations with these people in their homes about their house. And I learned that a lot of them didn't need to sell, which was fine. We ended up just talking about Renatus at the end of the day. At the end of the day, and they were sometimes interested and sometimes not. But but at the end of the day, I could then the next conversation I had, I could speak about the experience I just had. Like, yeah, I was walking through this house, making an offer on it, and here was what we were trying to do, and yada yada. And all of a sudden, people know. People know that you're doing this. You're not going to do this. You're doing. There's a difference. Going to do and doing. And when you enter that, like, I'm doing this mode, like, I just talked to this person yesterday about this offer on their house, whatever. They're just like, man, they're doing this. No one can deny. So, anywho, love it. That's what I do. Hands down. I mean, it's what I do today still. Learn something new, have conversations. Learn something new, have conversations. Have new experiences, have more conversations. So, love it. Just reading these comments. Oh, you guys are awesome. So cool. Questions, comments, and we got real estate needs that we want to look at.
I always have real estate needs.
Love it. Let's hear it.
Well, I'm just trying to decide which one. So I had a seller back out on Monday, and it's not worth our time to like go after them. We just go to the next deal. So I'm
Hmm.
on to the next deal, and I guess I'm having trouble finding comps. I'm getting it from a wholesaler. So maybe we can run comps on this. We could run numbers on this property.
Um, what city is state is it in?
New Jersey.
So I don't have access to run comps out there.
Okay.
Um, I've only got MLS access in Utah. And so but I can tell you what I would do.
Sure.
So here, let's do this. Uh, I think I can just copy and paste this, but here, I'll show you guys. So here is right here. So here is what I train my employees to follow. So literally anybody that works for me, the day they start, they can they can follow this. And so now, if you don't have employees or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can use this with a realtor. And so here, I'll just copy this and paste it. Uh, Copy. And let's see, where's comments? Chat. So here is what I have them do. Um, Start with 180 days back, so 6 months. Go further in the distance that helps you and shorter in the distance that hurts you. And here's what I mean by that. Year built, 20 years older than our house, 10 years newer. And this is just like if as a starting point, we'll whittle these things down if we have plenty of comps, right? But this has been like the recipe for my area to find enough comps that justifies, okay, yeah, I get a confident valuation here, valuation estimate, whatever. Okay, so go further in the way that helps you, not as far in the way that hurts you. 20 years older, 10 years newer. Now, square footage is the opposite. So go 200 feet below my house, 300 feet above, because price per square foot, Costco effect, the less square foot you have, the higher the price per square. And residential real estate, the authority is the price per square. Like, never, if anybody ever tells you, like, oh, yeah, like the house next door sold for this much money, I don't care. What did it sell price per square foot? That's what I want to know. And so go 200 feet below, 300 feet above. Again, further in the way that helps you, not and shorter in the way that hurts you. And then acreage is again flip-flopped. So acreage, go zero point 0.1 acres smaller than our house, but only 0.05 acres larger than our house. So again, going further in the way that helps us, less far in the way that hurts us. Um, because all three of these things skew price per square. And so be careful. I'll have people send me a house that's like 500 square feet below our house and be like, yeah, look at the price per square. I'm just like, no, you're gonna hurt yourself, right? In fact, oftentimes, like I'll even try to only look at the houses that are bigger than ours and have smaller acreage to say, okay, yes, I have full confidence in the price per square that we set because we are matching a price per square of a house that's bigger than us, or matching the price per square of a house that's larger acreage than us. Um, or sorry, smaller acreage than us. So, and then whoops, radius, I like to start with 1 mile. If you're in a small town, then we'll go a little bit further than that. And then I say, just as a starting point, and then if we need to, like, let's say you don't get enough comps with even this template, if you will, um, then we will expand, but let's only expand in ways that don't dilute. For example, increase days back, more square footage than our house, so maybe go up to 400. Less acreage, and so instead of adding acreage in our expansion, decrease acreage or go older in year built, right? So start there first, and if that doesn't work, then yes, we can start expanding in those other areas. This is like your stay out of jail. Take a screenshot cropped with only the columns and headers visible. Oh, because you guys can't see how small this is. So I did just copy this and paste it into the chat. Oh, that's my own comment. Sorry, guys. I thought that was somebody else. Okay. So now let's say that I don't have access to the realtor, or sorry, that I don't have access to the MLS. Just, copy and paste this and send it to the realtor and be like, hey, do this. Okay. And then notice that all these little things here. So here's, oh, nice. We had 2 deals come in last night. And so here's what my assistant just did this morning. So this, yeah, 116 is today's 17. Yeah. So just this morning, my assistant did that template, if you will. And then we're going to say image over cells so that you guys can see this. Where is it? There we go. Okay. And so we have her sorting by price per square. Oh, she cut off the top. Darn it. Here, let's grab a different one. This one's got a little more. Image, put over cells. So I like to see, oh, whoops, I just messed everything up. Back up. And then let's look at this one. Image over cells. I like to see all of these things, right? When you receive like a CMA from a realtor, they've cherry picked. They've gone over here and like checked some of these boxes and said only show these ones, and that's it. I like to see everything. Let's see. Could you paste in the chat again? Yeah, I think so. Copy, paste. Ah, darn it. It's not, I don't think it's going to let me put this photo in. Copy, paste. Ah, darn it. It's not going to let me see. But here, if I go like this, maybe you guys can see a little bit more of the screen. So I like to see everything, no filtering. Oh, where did it go? There we go. Oh, I just put it behind that. There we go. And then we sort it by price per square. So this is the tippity top dog in the neighborhood. Oh, and I like to see sold, under contract, active, A down here. So active, sold, under contract, expired, like everything. I want to see all of it because I want to see my competition. I want to see the comparables that have already sold that the appraiser's going to see. I want to see everything. Okay, and so notice that we've got the tippity top dog here, $236 per square. I typically just throw that out and say, no, we're not gonna match that. Why? Because the appraiser is gonna see exactly what I'm seeing too. The appraiser is gonna be like, oh yeah, $236 per square plus all these other ones, and average it out. And so, and he is gonna cherry pick, or he or she is. The appraiser is going to cherry pick and say, oh yeah, this one, this one, this one, this one. And so typically what I like to do is see this price per square sorted. We're not going to match that. We're going to go down in here. So we've got like 211, 211, 213, 218. So I would say we're going to be two teens, maybe high teens on ours, right? And some of these are under contract, so we're going to throw that out. In fact, 2 of these. So we're not going for 224. We're not going for 2. So yeah, so like mid-teens, the mid-2 teens is where we're going to go for our price per square. And so, and then you can just carry on down and say, okay, yeah, 200, again, moving all the way down to the cheapest houses in the neighborhood. Sold for 203, and I don't think I see that this list was longer. Usually if it is longer, she'll like give me the whole thing. Um, in fact, this might even be our subject house that's active. Actually, no, ours would be under contract. But anyway, and so I like to see original list price currently. So see if that's changed, and then sold. Obviously, these ones have not sold, and so that's nothing. But see the story there. What was it listed for? What is it currently listed for? What did it sell for? All right, so this one, 475, and sold for 485. So above asking. Listed 510, stayed listed for 510, but ended up selling for 480. So somebody came in, lowballed them, and they were like, sure. Oh, and then this just should show us days on market. Oh, only 23 days on market. Interesting. So somebody lowballed, somebody took it. 510, 515. Oh, so they increased the price and sold it. Probably had like a bidding war or something like that. And that was 211 price per square, right? So again, this would give me confidence to say, if we're in the two teens price per square, I think we're safe on this. And then let's see, and it shows us square footage, acreage. Like if you remember Eric Counts, he talks about the credit score. The things that affect price per square the most, square foot and acres, right? The things that affect your credit score the most, like payment history and credit card balances, whatever ratio, whatever. It's been so long I forget exactly what it is, but payment history is a big one. Similar to real estate, pay closest attention to the ones that affect price per square the most. And then beds and baths and garage and year built, right? All those other things aren't as strong to affect price per square, but still notable enough that I like to see them. But notice I don't filter. Like if my house is only a 4 bedroom, I don't filter by only up to 4 bedroom. I want to see everything. Okay, see if there's a pattern, right? This is a 4 bedroom and is the top dog. These two are 5 bedrooms and they're not top dog. Like, okay, so people didn't care about price per or how many bedrooms as much, right? Some of these other ones are 3, and even still like towards the top, 3 bedroom. No garage, 1 car garage, 2 car garage. Like even still, like I don't see a pattern here that people care as much about garages. And then obviously we have our acreage or year built. And then it still shows me, now I can't zoom. Oh, there we go. And it still shows me, sold date as well. Like I'm gonna weight that to say, okay, this one was more recent, this one was a while ago. And then days on market. I like to see days on market. Like, okay, how long did it take them to get that price per square, right? So all of these are looking really good. Other than this one, which again tells me, cool, I'm not gonna copy that guy at $224 a square. Like, no, I'm not copying. I wouldn't want to duplicate his or her experience of pricing it at $224 a square foot. And technically we don't even know because it's under contract. So we don't actually know if he's getting, or he or she is getting, they are getting $224 a square foot. It's currently under contract. So I don't want to duplicate that, but I would duplicate all of these: 23 days on market, 33 days on market, 12 days on market, in the two teens. Let's see, where was our price per square? Right there. So 218, 213, 211. So yeah, that's where I'd be. So again, I reiterate, if you don't have access to MLS yourself, sit down with a realtor and do this. Sit down with a realtor and say, okay, yeah, pull this criteria and then show me everything sorted by price per square so I can see patterns. Looking for patterns here. And then similarly, like show me all those, if they can add all those columns. How can I share a screenshot of that? I wonder if I let's see, zoom out, screenshot this whole thing. And then if I just copy the screenshot into the chat, let's try that. And chat, Can you do photos? Yes, it's gonna let me now. Um, so save that just so you can see like all the columns across the top. And so when you're sitting with your realtor, be like, all right, here's the criteria. And then if you can, give me a view of all of these and give me all of these columns and um, and sort by price per square. Because again, we're looking for patterns. I want to see top tippity top dog and then on down. And then just decide, okay, whose experience do I want to duplicate? Don't go for the top dog. I'll tell you that right now. But who lower than the top dog, whose experience do I want to duplicate? And and then of course go in and look at the photos of the house and say, okay, yeah, here was the build quality. So it even tell you like, cool. It seems like it doesn't really matter that they're doing X, Y, or Z. It doesn't really matter that they're doing granite counters. Oh, it doesn't really matter that they're doing brand new cabinets. Like most of these houses, again, I'm just spitting. This could be. We'd have to go in and look at all these photos or all these listings. But you look at it and say, okay, yeah, it looks like they didn't really care about cabinets. And so maybe we're just going to paint the cabinets instead of do brand new. Or if you're like, hey, I think if we maybe do like a quartz counter or a granite counter or something like that, let's just add that little bit of pizzazz above and beyond these guys, but don't go too far. And then sell for the same price that they did. So we'll copy their price per square, but we'll just like do one step above their build quality, like just a hair, just a little bit of pizzazz. We'll do a little bit of curb appeal better than what they did. Then bam, you're in business and on track basically to duplicate their experience at the end of the day. And so hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. I have one more question if you're
Yes.
all right. So this is something I've been stuck on, and I think I might just be stuck in my head on it. So I have this property that I have to get a lender out of, and usually I have no problem like raising the capital pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason I've been stuck on it and I have not been able to get her out. So I mean, I feel like I know your answer is to like talk to more people, essentially.
Golden rule.
Yeah, so I might have just answered it for myself, but I don't know why I've been stuck. And like it's not actually not just this property. For some reason I've just been a little bit stuck on raising capital and it usually comes very natural to me. So I'm like trying to figure out why I'm stuck on this.
Um, Whatever the story that you're telling in your own head, I'd say.
Yeah.
So whatever narrative that you've subscribed to within your own mind about this property, like sometimes we can tend to be like, oh man, like this one is going long, or oh, I mean, I'm can't find the a new partner or whatever. And so if let's see, I think it was just a couple weeks ago, I like spelled out my pitch. Like you've got to get into your own head, change the narrative in your own mind that this house is the best thing since sliced bread, and here's why. So find the aspects of this house as to why it is the best thing since sliced bread. For example, if I'm not mistaken, this gal's like current. Like she has made payments to you for years, and so she has like her own credit history with you on this house. And so this is the best thing since sliced bread. That man, this is a performing, very good track record of a client that man, like people would just love to be a part of that. So go through and change the narrative in your own mind as to why this is the best thing since sliced bread, right? Look for that instead of like, oh, I've been trying and have been turning up, been turning up dry, trying to get this swapped over to somebody else or whatever, to a new partner, to a new lender, to a new whatever. Um, just change the narrative, and I would dare guess that it will change the outcome as well, based on my own experience.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It it will. Thank you.
So yeah, you bet. Just checking comments. So cool. Anybody else? If not, we'll get on the road.
Cool. Well, thanks, Tamara, for asking the questions and being in the arena. I put the quote of the day in the chat as well, so you guys can capture it, save it, use it, remind yourselves about it. Be in the arena. I know Celeste is in the arena. Aubrey's in the arena. Gilda's in the arena. I'm looking through this list and see you guys and gals doing the work. So I'm excited to be side by side with you, marching forward to a designed future. Same with you, Daine. Thank you for being here, being a great example of diligent work, honest, hard work, valuable work, and we're going to go and use what you just shared with us to try to copy and get something similar. And folks, remember, there's way more people that need this than are here. They need what we have. They need community, education, information, encouragement, guidance. So invite a few people. We got some Super Saturdays coming up. We got an intensive coming up. Of course, we got the weekly meetings and the chats and everything. So just share. Sharing is caring. Thank you, Daine, for sharing your morning with us. Everybody else participating. Doug, Scarlett, Lorraine, great to see you all. Zen, Corey, Pat. It's a beautiful thing. Wealth Wednesdays. And tomorrow will be our first edition of the 2026 Thriving Thursday. So we'll send out some info about that. And then again, next week, we will be in the Investor Secret Network. So more to come. Exciting times. Thanks for being here, everyone. And if you need me, reach out. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Sweet.
Have a great day.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye for now.
Peace.